Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. Okay. Well, so, sorry I wasn't here yesterday. We are having some back problems. And by we, I mean me. Apparently, I'm royal, just in case you're wondering. And so I was completely out of commission yesterday. And so there I wasn't. So here I wasn't. But I'm back today. Lots of laying on a rolly foam thing about this big, and I'd lay on it until my back popped. And then once my back popped, we were good. But up until that moment, we were bad. So here I am kind of going, okay. So we're going to work on Fred's things today because that's important. I am actually going to go on ahead and start from scratch. We are in a, well, first of all, here's what the sketch shows. Got a car, got a fuzzy who's working on things, Warren who's working on things with the bunny ears. It's important for me to get the bunny ears. And then a poke and a wuzzy, and all of these guys need to be working on a car. So I got a car. Originally, the picture depicts a Volkswagen Bug, a very remarkably identifiable vehicle. And they're obviously putting an electric motor in the front of the Bug. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, even with the Bug motors things, you still want to put the motor in the back. Excuse me. So we're going to work on a Golf because a Golf is cool. It works. It gives me a thing to do. The other thing we're going to do in the libraries here is we're going to go into environments, architecture, and somewhere in here I know I have a farm because they're going to be doing this in a exteriors? No. No. I have a farm somewhere. I keep it somewhere. Because, of course, everything is just the interiors. Everything is by the creator's name, which is fine, but I don't remember who creates these things. I'm looking for a farm. There's gamer, dorm room, dining room, digital labs. No, that's a library. Burger restaurant, modular cafe. Is it under mine? Because I usually put them under places. Farm. Found a farm. Found a farm. Barn. Farm. Okay. Gotta get inside the barn. You can see that we now have a barn. Barn. With a barn. Good. I take this car. I'll move him back because these guys are working on stuff. We actually turn them sideways, so we've got like a good, nice corner and a window. And this is, by the way, a cheat that occurs all the time. All the time. Okay, we'll put the camera here, like so. They do this all the time in movies. If you ever watch a movie, you'll notice that in the movies, you'll always have like this scene that is really interesting, but then you'll think about it. You'll be like, okay, how did they get that car in there? And why would they turn the car sideways? Right. I also have a garage. I just have to think about where the heck it is. I collect weird sets because then I'm like, oh, hey, I can use this for stuff like this. It's exactly what I'm doing here. Right. So I'm going to S7. No, that's not 7, but that's science fiction something. And I don't think I can get anything out of level 19. And that's completely useless as well. Although cool, but useless. Okay. So, next thing we will do is go to people. What's up here? Where the streets have no name. Office room, workout, contemporary garage. 0 props. Good. That's what I was looking for. The streets have no name. They're working on a car. So we're going to be doing car work, right? Well, that's great. There we go. Make sure we've got kind of a various number of widgets on here to make it look effectively right. All right, got some tools. Put a stool in too because it sounds like a thing. Right, I mean people. It's a garage. I like the roll of duct tape. That's important. All right. There we go. Got some rando tools. They're hanging out on the on the thing. All right. I don't know why we have boots, but that's all right. Boots on the ground. Okay. So we're going to go down here to surfaces. Yeah. Yeah, the camera. Remember that the picture is going to be thinner and narrower, so we want to make sure we don't put anything important over here. We will put some people in here. And I actually think I might have better morphs for Genesis 8. So we'll just put in a Genesis 8 basic female. It won't matter what we do on here. Because she's loading. It won't matter what we do on this one. I think this is the one where I've got the best possible shapes for her. I'm going to find some small bodies for her because these are all small people. There we go. All I'm doing here is just setting the pose for this. This one is clearly working on the car's engine block of some sort here. And we can actually do something like this. And to the west. There we go. And honestly, duplicate this guy or gal. Because it won't make much difference. Because they're effectively children. So it won't make much difference as to There. Now, jumping for the camera. Wah! Okay, we're getting there. There are a lot more moving pieces available to us on the 8.1 model than there are on it's weird. Okay. Like, didn't realize I clicked through. I guess I'm assuming what exactly happened here is I clicked through. Okay, we'll have the last person here. Base poses. Now we'll do a quick fitting check. That's fitting, don't you know? and funny. All right. Well, I'll just take this part and we'll cut and paste. Oh, they don't have to keep all the rest of it. We can then take this guy and just tear up the background, apparently. That's what we're going to do. I mean, does this look good to me? Yeah, it looks good to me. Does it look good to you? Yeah, it looks good to you. Does everything look good? Everything's good. We might even make this bigger. Just looking at this, we might need to make this guy bigger. We'll see. We'll take some of that top of the bottom off and get some space off of it here. There we go. That's just taking up the same space that we declared here. That works. Okay, we'll go into this layer now, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and blue line this so I can get kind of an idea of what I want to mess with. Let me get to this pen. Take the technical thing because I kind of like it. All right. How much detail do we have here? Is this enough to actually do it? I don't want to render out of DAZ Studio because there's mapping on these, but I don't know if I can render outside of NVIDIA. If I did just 3D Delight, what would I get? Right? When I don't see a lot in the way of mapping on these guys, so I'm only gonna wait a long time. It's optimizing the heck out of images I don't really particularly care for. So we're optimizing images is what it's doing. What that means is in various 3D programs, there are different ways to do different things, rendering styles. In ray tracing, what you do with ray tracing is the computer takes the scene, takes a light, draws a line from the light to an object. Not you. Computer, stop. Takes a line. Computer, stop. Computer. Thanks. Computer, stop. Wow, that was a bigger fight than I intended it to be. The rendering engine takes a light and generates a beam, and it draws it to the object, and then draws that light to the camera, and says, "Well, here's the light. It bounces off here and goes here. Here's the light. It bounces off here and goes here, and then goes all the way around the object, showing where the light reflects." That's great, but it takes time and it takes computational power. Obviously, there's lots of thinking that goes on. So then you have, this took forever for it to get here. There's not even any shadow tracing on this. Yeah, we can use that. It gives me more resolution. It's fine. Just save it out. It gives me more detail on the car. I really need more detail on the car than I need anything else. The Wuzzies are going to be their Wuzziness. Almost as small as this anyway. There are some things that are just better with Photoshop. I need to admit that. There we go. Trim down the backgrounds. I'll worry about it later. I'll leave that for right now. Okay, now we're going to go up on this layer. And let's talk a little bit about blue lining. We're going to go in here, and we know we want a poke, a Wuzzy, and a Warren. Right? And this is my Warren, the original one. So we're going to have ears on this one. Probably bumped by the hood of the vehicle like that. Right. And we'll put coveralls on. Probably that are patched. Right. So they've got ears up there. What do they have here? Right. So keep working this blue line. Just bring out. Come on back to me. There we are. Bringing out the cheeks a little. And she's rabbity, so we want her to be looking rabbity of some sort. So I've extended the nose forward like so. And given a little bit of a cleft to this front of this lip. And then move that there. And give her more cheek. Come on. There we go. Nice. Give her more cheek. And here. Okay, we got a lot of reading going on all of a sudden. Because it's doing the stall thing again. I think I'll just bring up nothing. I will bring up nothing. The entire computer system is locked. So we'll give it a second here. There we go. Something is causing my computer to really slow down massively. So I'm opening Task Manager to find out what that is. Does not surprise me. So we will save the picture. I don't know where it's saving as. Hi. There we go. Not in star maps. I'm going to put it out here. I'm going to try and say. We're getting a lot of the read-write problems. I need to clear this. It doesn't help anything. Every so often, like Winamp wants attention. I don't know what Winamp wants. Hey, Brent. How are you? Try to get this music balanced. Okay, Daz, you can go away now. There we go. Now, hopefully that's calmed down our little read-write problem. Get back to work here. Yeah, the launch was awesome. I'm doing better today than I was before. I wasn't doing well yesterday. I had really bad cramps in both legs that started about, I don't know, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, Tuesday night, and it kept me up until 3 or 4 in the morning before, because I could only lay down for maybe 7 or 8 minutes before one or the other of my legs would cramp. Ultimately, I went down to the couch where I could put my feet against the arm of the couch and press them there, because what was happening was the calf muscle would cramp and it would pull. But as long as I kept my foot flat, this muscle couldn't constrict and then couldn't cramp. So, needless to say, yesterday I canceled yesterday's show simply because I was sleeping. I finally just found out that I could sleep on the couch and press my foot against the side of the couch, and that would work. And so I did. And that got us quite a ways into Yeah, I've been wondering whether this is a blood sugar issue. I'm worried that it's a blood sugar issue. Although I say that it isn't. I have a pinched sciatic nerve. That's what's really going on. My sciatic nerve is pinched, which is right down in the bottom of the lumbar region. And when it pinches, I don't know if it just screws up the signals to my legs or what's the story. But I got a bigger roller. It's about this big around. And when I lay on that roller, I can actually like stretch my back out enough that it will pop. And so when it pops, I'm fine. And that's what happened yesterday afternoon. I went upstairs and to the bedroom and I got the bigger roller that my sister had given me. And I laid on that roller, which is really uncomfortable. It's not a comfortable position, but what it does is it keeps my back up here and then lets my hips drop down. And then the weight of my hips finally pulls my lumbar region apart. And when that happens, then I get the pop. And when that happens, then I could sleep. So I took another nap yesterday afternoon, and I got almost nothing done. It's this chair. It's what's going on. It's sitting at the chair all day long, hunched over a drawing tablet. So this weekend, we've been putting in all of the preparation for putting in standing desks, and that's going to actually happen this weekend because I realized that if I don't do something soon, I'm not going to be able to stand much longer. So we're going to do that this weekend. So I am putting in it's interesting. Last night I was working on I'm sure that lumbar support pillows would help. Really, the truth is I can stand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this monitor. We're going to put a desk right here, and we're going to build it, and it's going to go out over the window just a little bit. So I'll be able to put this monitor right there at the very end. And I should be able to take that then and be able to draw and watch what's going on. There's a park right here, like a little park where there's a play set and and stuff like that. And it's a very lovely little park. It's got a little meandering path, and there are no houses between us and the park. So I can just stand here and watch people play or whatever, and go out there and just have a much nicer time. I've been kind of trying to do that for a while. I like looking out in the park. I like watching people. Okay. The Warren is easy because it's the one I can think of. I'm going to move this over here. I can read it. But we need to remember what pokes look like. And searching for pokes. Yep. I mean, I've never been terribly outdoorsy as a person. I don't mind being outdoors, but generally it's just too hot for me or something. I really like my time to go outside and walk around as fall, winter, and early spring before it starts to get hot. Once it gets hot, it's just work, and I don't like doing it. It's not comfortable or fun. So we're finally starting to fall down in temperature, but I mean, honestly, it's 23 degrees Celsius out there right now. So yeah, I mean, people watching is people watching. I'm not stalking them. I'm just watching them. Wow. Everything on my computer is running so slow. All I'm doing right now is running a search on the Afterworlds document. I mean, something's clogging up the whole system. Chrome. But that shouldn't be a big problem. There we go. Spokesman. Alright, this is page what? Usually, if I can look right around the page, it's 113. So we'll just close this and actually just head to 113. The poke. Okay. Pokes look like pixies, I guess. I like how you're watching Crazy. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and switch over to black on the pen here. Right. We're going to go ahead and switch to black. Because the truth is, pokes have sort of there we go. And they've got looks like fur eyebrows that are just pretty much from here out. There we go. One of the things bright. Oh yeah, out of boredom. Now last night I was going through and renaming all of my Star Treks in my collection. Because all of my files are sort of haphazard and clumsily set up. And so I wanted to go on ahead and straighten them up. I have almost all of Star Trek, I know you guys are shocked, recorded out into onto my computer. But recently, I found out I could just load them into Winamp. And then I can play them at random. Right? And so the problem with it is that there are folders everywhere and they're all inconsistent because it depends on what era I was recording the shows off of my DVDs. Because I was just ripping my DVDs in succession, but it happened over years. And so I was noticing that last night. And the format that I really want to use is date of release, then what or then the title. So TNG, TOS, ENT, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then what it is, season 1, episode 2. So SO1, EO2, whatever, and then the name, and that's the format. And I had them going in all these different formats. I was like, jeez, can't make myself straightened out at all. Yeah, I think they call that Starfinder. All of those creatures are in Starfinder. He's like a super good looking pixie thing. Which is why he's jumping in front of the camera to go, ha ha, me. Also true. So I talked to Fred a little bit about this and was saying one of the things that I really kind of wanted to work on was so many role-playing games, every picture of all the races is them ready to kill you. And it's like, wouldn't in a role-playing game, wouldn't there be like normal stupid stuff going on too? And so we agreed that one of the things we're going to do here is pictures of these characters doing normal stuff. In this case, they're working on a car. And that actually was a lot more entertaining to me as a role player, because it's funnier to think of all of these guys, like totally doing weird antics and stuff like that because they're weird. I mean, just like we would if it was us working on a car. I mean, this is like a photograph of these guys. Also, so one other thing that I have been thinking about, guys, since we're here and talking, been seriously contemplating the idea of making my own. I mean, you know that I've been working on a card game that fits to Bellatrix Rising. I've actually been kind of thinking about making a role-playing game as well. And I think that would be kind of cool. Working a little bit more on the lighter role-playing aspects of things. Like how do you make a lighter role-playing system? And I like the idea of scenes. When we were talking a little bit about when we talk about Star Trek Adventures, and one of the things that's interesting about Star Trek Adventures is the game is set up in scenes, right? It's set up in all of your attributes refresh at the end, or at the beginning of every scene. So the concept of how many things you can do and how much exhaustion you have or whatever is all based on these scenes. But I've been thinking a little bit about this. I've been a role player for a very, very long time. And I was just kind of thinking about attributes in general. One of the things is 100 million, zillion, quadrillion years ago, they made some simpler games in the 70s. And one of them was like the prototype to GURPS, and it had 3 attributes: intelligence, dexterity, and strength. And I thought that's fascinating. But then I thought, if you think about it, in a science fiction environment, you don't really need strength per se. Strength is more like a skill, right? If you want to be strong, you go to the gym and you dedicate 10,000 hours to pushing iron. And so you have strength as a skill. Otherwise, you're just Joe Blow and you can open a jar or somebody else can open a jar, and it's relative to whether, you open the jar or not. I've been kind of thinking about that. So I've been thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if you had a role-playing system that didn't have strength as an attribute? Or dexterity, for that matter. Because it's another thing. Do you want to be dexterous? Go learn to be dexterous. You juggle or whatever. If you have juggling, then what you do is you add hand-eye coordination as a skill. So then you've got hand-eye coordination. And if you're coordinated because you spent X number of times, and this could all be part of the stuff that you do as a child, as you're building your character. You decide whether your kid, the kid that you generate here, whether he or she went out and walked on logs and tried to cross logs a lot and tried to get their balance straight, then they get the balance skill. And I was thinking about that because it's like, if you think about the way kids work, we all decide what we can do. Sure, we've got like some predisposition, but for the most part, I feel kind of like those are all kind of skills. I was thinking in a role-playing environment, I was thinking as we were playing like 5e and stuff like that, there was a certain amount of, I want you to check on your, and that was my thing. So I was thinking, if you were to think about the attributes of a person, they would really be like drive, right? How much drive do you have? Because if you don't have a lot of drive, playing a guitar is kind of hard, right? Because you just spend all your time, you pick up the guitar and you go, this is too hard, I give up, So people who have drive will spend 10,000 hours on that. And 10,000 hours isn't really, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's 4 years and an 8-hour job, 40-hour a week job. It's only 4 years and you master it, whatever that is. So 10,000 hours isn't hard unless you're doing it in your spare time, at which time it is pretty hard. So, but I mean, and I feel like a lot of us spend a lot of our time working 1 hour a day or something. You know what I mean? Let's stand up and stretch. This has become much more important now, is the standing up and stretching part, since I've been suffering so much from the back stuff. I mean, even now, I've got a small cramp forming right here in the cervical. So let's also work out our neck so that your chiropractor doesn't have to do the crack thing that she did to me the other day, which she's like, sorry, crack. I was like, ah, oh my God. Anyway, so I was thinking, characters with a lot of drive would be characters, right? Well, I mean, like, that's a good example. Hobbies. Dedicates 10,000 hours to a hobby and you become an expert at it and people go, ooh, right? I mean, drawing for me was at one point in time a hobby. Now I'm dedicating 2 hours a day, sometimes 4, sometimes 6 hours a day, depending. And things are improving slowly. But I'm not dedicating 8 hours of it. But of course, you think about it, really, honestly, you don't dedicate 8 hours to your job anyway. So people don't often, and that's what drive is about. That's what I was thinking. Somebody who has a higher drive skill would dedicate, maybe they could dedicate 8,000 hours to a skill and get it. And that's those people, that's the Hermiones of the world, right? You've got Hermione. She studies everything. She does everything. She's just, right? Drive. She's got a lot of drive. And so she'd be more likely in the long run she'd be book learned. It'd be what we would call those people, book learned. But drive also means that you're more likely to stick to a project or finish a project or things like that. So that give you more, practically in a game, that give you more skills, right? There was a third person on here that we've just lost. So it's not Brent or Donald. So I guess we're down to just Brent and Donald and me. This is fine. But then I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, so one of your attributes is drive. One of your attributes is grit, right? I mean, I keep kicking at you and kicking at you and kicking at you and you're lying on the ground, but you still keep standing back up because you're just there. You're like hard to move, hard to mentally. You're not leaving until finally you are out of commission. And grit, grit seems like a thing. You may not have a lot of drive. You may have, resilience. You may not have a lot of drive. You may not have a lot of skills, but you can ride that horse forever. I think the third attribute would be charm, right? Just how friendly are you, right? I feel like those 3 attributes would be like great attributes. And then everything else is a skill. Strength is a skill. Balance is a skill. And it depends on how much drive you want to spend. I think a lot of us average out with whatever, If there's 10 points for each one of these and it's 0 to 10, I think most of us would have a drive right around like 2 or 3 or 4, right? I mean, we just don't. Because the people who have a lot of drive, they've got a lot of drive. Like Elon Musk has a drive of 10, right? Because like he just keeps, everybody's like, that's ridiculous. And he does it anyway, you know. Elon Musk probably would have pretty high scores in all 3. I think that'd be interesting. I think the other interesting thing I would do is make it so that it's random how many you can put points anywhere you want on those 3, but you start out with a dice roll of how many points you have. So here, let's say 10 is the maximum of all of them. Yeah, right? I mean, like charm and quick wit, that's exactly the same thing, right? If you've got a high charm, then somebody comes up and says, "Why are you here?" You're the one that goes, I'll tell you right now, my supervisor told me to be here at exactly 10 o'clock, and it's now what, 12? I'm so sorry I'm late. And you're just like, bam, 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 Johnny on the spot, right? Those are the things where charm would be great for that kind of stuff. But that's the kind of thing. You got your face man. You always have that one guy who can just talk his way out of a paper bag. You know what I mean? Like he could just do anything. I've been thinking about that. And I think whenever I make cards for black, I think that's the skill attributes I'm going to give. Right? Because I feel like, for example, if you look at this, I feel like different eras of different time. Chang right now has a drive of like 1, but she has a grit of like 8 or 9 and a charm of 5 or so. You know what I mean? Like, so she's got like no drive. So you want her to finish a job, she's never going to finish it. She'll get there, but not quickly. She's just not, that's not where she is in the world. But if you had Chang from 10 years earlier, that card would read different because her drive would be 8, her charm would be 3, and her grit would be like 5 or so. So we like change values as time goes on. So I think that'd be the other thing is every time, I think that would be one of the things that I would want to see in a game is the game master assigning points to you, right? So you did something gritty, I give you a +1 to grit, but you have to take it from something else. You know what I mean? So when you level up, you've got a +1 to grit, you can assign to grit, but you have to take the point from charm or from drive. You know, I think that'd be interesting. I think that'd just be kind of a fascinating game system, game mechanic, you know? And I think that what would happen is there would be scenes where something important happened to your character, right? You did something not just at character, but above and beyond character. Like, my character is, my character has low charm, but goes in there and the player comes up with a brilliant idea that's very charming. And so the GM, oh, you're back. The GM then would award a point for going above and beyond the character, pushing the character. It's sort of the same thing as Star Trek Adventures has. That's something I'm liking about Star Trek Adventures as well. So, anyway, thought process. These are all the things that I think about. But I also think it makes it kind of cool to develop these character attributes or whatever, because then I can role play the characters in the stories. It sounds stupid, but It's a good double check to make sure that the stupid characters aren't doing something dumb and making you go, why did you do that? Anyway, back to drawing. There we go. Yeah. You can run off and do work anytime you need to, my friend. Work is a priority. If you make him twerk, I'm going to really regret this whole discussion topic. I'm just saying. All right. We have a pokey poke. There we go. Excellent. This is our poke. 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 And then we need one other critter. Who do we need here? A Wuzzy. And that's our Wuzzy in the background. Right. Okay. Not sure what to think about the Star Trek TikTok with twerking Trekkies. All right. Now, Wuzzies. Okay, guys, if my music is too loud, tell me because I just adjusted all of the volumes and I don't hear my own voice, so I can't tell. And this is one of the loudest songs that we play on here. Twerking Twillix. That's enough. Cute. I'll just thin this out a little. All right. All righty. I'm just adjusting the facial features to match what this character looks like. It's relatively hard to furrow a brow when it's bent up and really weird like this. It's like, really? Yep. Hmm. We'll go over here and work on our Warren kid. There we go. Yeah, I don't know where George went. He got crazy this morning. Was doing the midnight crazies at like first thing in the morning. You know, he'd run in with big eyes and he'd stare at everything, and then he'd just bolt off and run away, and completely crazy cat. So I'm gonna do all the things. So there's George. I just don't know where he manifested to. I actually put these ears a little more into the side of her head. Less, give her the less of a Playboy bunny effect. I'm sure that's probably not what I was going for here. So no idea what I did with my phone. That's right. I don't usually answer in the middle of a show anyway, so. Change her eye situation here. So she's looking at a kid who's goofing off and screwing around for the camera and going, I'm having fun. Yep, same rabbit people. She's still that same, they're called Warrens in this game. So I'm doing artwork for the Afterworlds book again. We couldn't for a long time do that because the Afterworlds books were on this old hard drive right here, and I had to be able to read the data off of this hard drive before I could do this. So we're back at it again. You remember about a year ago, I upgraded my computer, and then it wiped out the hard drives. And didn't wipe out the data; it just wiped out the headers, so there was no reading them anymore. So same folk over here. And what I was saying earlier was I've been talking to Fred, who's the guy who's in charge of this, and he and I were talking about the fact that I was like really wanted to do more just non-action shots, like, oh well, thank you. For example, I mean, like, in this instance, we just got these characters working on a car, which I figured would be a thing you do in the post-apocalyptic era. Right? So that's where we are. Let me take this guy in a straight line. Go like this. Go in here. Actually, going for the curve. Nice. I'm just putting in the lines. There we go. Yes, more commission work is always a plus. So we're going to finish this piece probably sometime in the next couple of weeks. I mean, this is not going to be the easy piece to do. And I know that. They're all kind of complicated and hard. But they are fun. What is getting old, though, is this reed thing that's going on. I can't tell if it's in my yes. You know, Johnny Cash had some very interesting songs that really very much broke his genre. You know, like he was in a genre that I feel like a lot of his songs really were kind of, but I mean, you know, I guess that makes some sense in a way. He also ended up, you know, not what he ended up doing over time was breaking through different genres, you know. You're back again. I've seen that. It doesn't end as well as we'd like it to. Yo, Frankencar. We're just putting in the tread and the tires here. This is where the rubber meets the road. I'm just saying. Yeah, Beverly Hillbillies car was a 28 Ford Model T. Truck. That is my speculation on it. Judging from something that I saw many, many moons ago. But at least did see in the era of working on cars. So might have been. I don't know. So it was the very first. I mean, I guess we were talking about the very first truck. In that movie. Or TV show, I mean. Unless we're talking about Jethro doing something, which that could have happened. Right? And she's definitely a crush-worthy person. Not necessarily in the compactor sense. Oh yeah. Barbara Eden. All of my childhood crushes were on Star Trek people. I know, you're shocked. Definitely had a big crush on Michelle. Ginger, yeah. I think it's funny people talking about whether they're a Ginger or a Marianne person. I think it's even funnier when you hear the story about Dawn Lewis and how she wasn't hired to be a sex symbol. She was hired to be the cute little island sort of girl. And everybody was kind of shocked, including Tina, whatever her name was, who played Ginger, didn't really particularly care about that either. Well, I mean, I guess some folks find McCoy to be pretty attractive. I don't know. There are I hear a lot about crushes on McCoy. I like the guy, but not that much, which is all right. But I know a number of folks definitely had crushes on McCoy. We're going to duplicate this layer, and this is going to be the whiteout layer because we're going to need this layer to be able to see where the drawing is going, right? Where are we, relatively speaking, at this point, right? So that's not looking bad. And I feel like Alexander Siddig I feel like both Alexander Siddig and and D. Kelly were very shocked to find that they were sex symbols at all. You know, I don't think they were prepped for that at all. I'm almost willing to argue that the best tool in my toolkit here is this curve tool. especially for modern cars. Modern cars are not really straight pieces of metal anywhere, are there? Even this piece isn't a straight piece of metal. These misreads are irritating. And I don't know whether that's a misread in. I'm glad you tuned in too, Donald. I'll see you later. Take care of yourself, my friend. It is one of the reasons, though, that I do these lines so fast. Yep, there's a new Lower Decks today, and I'll watch it tonight. I watch it with my buddies. Um, Jackie and Jamie, and I go over to their house and watch it. So I try not to watch it ahead of time. And unless I don't think I'm going to see them for whatever reason, then I'll watch it without them. But generally speaking, I don't watch it without them. So, which, it's our bonding experience. Jackie is easily a rival of mine in Star Trek skill. She has a encyclopedic knowledge of Star Trek, which is cool. And so I enjoy spending time with her because she's good at, like, oh yeah, this is from that one episode or that other episode, or she pulls all those things out of thin air. I think so. I feel like she would definitely win the Star Trek Game Show Award. Definitely. Now, getting her on stage, that'd be a completely different problem. All right. Now let's check. We got a hood. It's actually coming along really well. The car looks happy. It's a happy car. All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Let's save this as a Photoshop document so we can keep working on it because we're gonna be working on this for a while. All right. Okay, guys, I'm on a shoot today, which is why I'm wearing my Geekway Home shirt. So I'm going to have to leave about 15 minutes early today so we can do that. Tomorrow, I should be back and we should be doing all of our normal stuff. So that should be fine and all will be good. And we will just continue doing our normal routine Fridays thing. You're shooting houses, yes. Well, of all of the things you can safari, houses are really good and easy because they don't run. So anyway, we're going to go on ahead and leave a little early, and I'll go do that. And I will see you tomorrow when we will probably have pepper, but I'm not sure. So if not, we'll continue working on this piece. Works just fine. So I will see you all later. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye bye. Computer, good night.